Okay, so I wanted to talk about some good news, guys. This is kind of like movie related, but it's also video game related, as you're going to learn here. So, this is the top box office results for the most recent weekend that we just had that ended a couple days ago or whatever, right? So, the box office for January 30th through February 1st, there was a few movies that came out that week, like there usually is, right? And the number one, of course, probably wasn't a big surprise to people. Of course, it's Sin Help. It is Sam Raimi's newest horror movie. He hasn't done a horror movie in a long time. He is a very acclaimed director. This was a movie that got a lot of advertising and stuff like that. Like every time I went to the theater, like they were showing trailers for this. And, like Sam Raimi, of course, is well renowned, made, a lot of the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, of course. He did a Doctor Strange movie. He did, of course, the Evil Dead movies and Army of Darkness. He's done all kinds of good stuff through the years. And that, of course, came out number one at 19 million. Now look at this, number two at 18 million, Iron Lung. What is that? That's probably the question that a lot of people were asking when they saw these results. It even beat out the documentary about the famous woman that nobody really cares about, which is why it beat it out, obviously. But anyways, here's the story for people that don't know. Iron Lung. Iron Lung is not any kind of major Hollywood film. It's not published out by anybody like Disney or Universal or Paramount or any of these companies. It is a completely independent movie. And it's all pretty much the brainchild of this guy right here, Markiplier. Good old Markiplier. A very popular channel on YouTube, 38 million subscribers. Got big and famous on the channel by doing Let's Play type videos and all this good stuff. So he decided to make his own movie, never having directed a movie before, not being involved with the sphere of influence in Hollywood at all, and basically financing the movie, working with the developer of this Iron Lung indie game that, again, is not that well known of an indie game. It's not like other video game adaptations, like we had movies for Minecraft, Super Mario Brothers, Sonic the Hedgehog, Warcraft, all the Resident Evil movies, and so on. There's been so many video game adaptations, and most people are like, "What the hell is Iron Lung?" And yet, it happened to do really good at the box office, and not just that, but it's got like really good ratings over on Rotten Tomatoes as well, which is kind of interesting because Rotten Tomatoes actually had temporarily removed the movie from the site from their top 10 listings, and then after backlash they put it back on, which is kind of interesting. As makes you wonder why they did that, right? But anyways, it's not critically, it's super like popular. It's got a 44% on the tomato meter, right? But audience reviews 89%, which is pretty strong. Pretty strong. We can take a look at these reviews here. You can kind of read them out. There are some negative ones, of course, but it does look like a pretty decent chunk of them really are digging this movie. So this is directed by Mark Edward Fishbach, which is his, I guess, actual name, right? I guess it would be kind of weird to say directed by Markiplier, although I guess people would probably be more familiar with it then, right? But I figured let's go ahead and play the trailer for this movie here, and we're going to do a little bit of commentary and stuff like that. I was really wanting to see Send Help. That movie looked really good, but I don't know. I might go see this instead, even though I'm not like a big Markiplier guy or anything like that. Like, I have nothing against the guy. He seems pretty nice and whatever, but I watched a couple of his videos. Wasn't for me. Let's just say that. But let's watch this trailer.
I see that question in your eyes. For what purpose do we remain alone in the dark?
Beginning the descent.
Very dark, a lot of atmosphere.
Stand by.
Pretty cool so far.
I ask myself that very same same question.
I'm seeing some voltage irregularities on the instrument.
This movie was apparently made on a very low budget. It was like a $3 million budget. They didn't spend like anything on marketing. He just basically advertised it on his channel and stuff like that. Word of mouth,
Where's
pretty
the
much
reason
only.
for this quiet rapture? Too few to rebuild.
Yeah, from what I understand, this is about like a kind of like an apocalyptic future where he has, the main character has to navigate this sea of like blood in a submarine, which sounds kind of ridiculous, honestly, but I guess the game kind of explains the lore of that and everything like that in order to find a way to save humanity. It's a very character-driven movie. Like, he's on screen most of the time. Markiplier both directs as well as is the star of the movie. There's not a lot of other people involved.
Us left to be throwing lives away, but there is too much at stake not to take calculated risks. Eden doesn't understand that.
Apparently, a lot of practical effects were done as well, but they also kind of like did like a really creative way of doing like computer graphics as well. Because I mean, on a $3 million budget, there's not a lot you can do, but I mean, it actually looks pretty cool. The thing is, I did not see this trailer in theaters at all. I only knew about this based on like people like gamers and whatnot that were talking about this. So this wasn't like advertised like anywhere where you would think to see movies. You would think most of the people that did go see the movie this weekend, it's because they're probably Markiplier fans and or Iron Lung fans, which if they're Iron Lung fans, chances are they might be Markiplier fans as well, because he kind of helped elevate the status of that game a bit with his Let's Play series that he did. Because he does do Let's Plays on all kinds of indie games and all this good stuff, right? But it's really cool that the movie is kind of taking off, and it's getting pretty good word of mouth. Not the best critics reviews, although some have enjoyed it. There are some critics that have enjoyed the movie, so that's good. I mean, it's better than a certain other movie that I briefly mentioned the name of earlier. Actually, I kind of want to look at this here because there was another video game movie that came out the week before. The third in a well-known survival horror video game franchise. It's a little movie called Return to Silent Hill. And look at the numbers on this one, guys. As of Sunday, February 1st, it racked up a total of $5.1 million. That was for being out a week longer than this Iron Lung movie. Which, according to this, is saying 17.8 million. These are probably estimates. They probably don't have like the finalized totals. But that's honestly astounding. And I have no idea, without like the help of any Hollywood studios and so on, how he is able to get it to open in 3,000 theaters. That itself is extremely impressive. A lot of movies don't even have the chance to open up on that many screens. So that itself is accomplishment, but it seems like it's, given that people don't really go to the movies in January, and we did just have like a crazy like ice storm recently and all those other good stuff. A lot of people probably couldn't go out, but the ones that could, they turned up. They turned up to watch this movie. So that's really cool to see, So I'm probably going to go see it, because it does look like an interesting movie. I'm a huge fan of horror films, and it sounds like the original, the concept that the movie, of course, is based on the game. Sounds like it could be a fun concept. Obviously, more of a slow burn kind of thing. It's not going to be like a slasher or any of those kind of horror movies where you're going to get like a lot of action. It's probably a lot more drama and stuff like that, but it does look pretty cool, I would say. And so, if you happen to not be aware that Microsoft, I don't know why I was saying Markiplier, directed a movie, well, now you know. And apparently people are saying it's actually pretty good. So hats off, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, please be sure to check out the video that I previously did. And in the other corner, you're going to see something that the algorithm's going to send to you that's probably fire, I am sure. And would you kindly subscribe on the bottom there? And that's going to be the last line.